Hey everybody, this is Josh O'Shea with Lighthouse Electric and Solar. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about solar inspections and why we think they're really important when you're getting ready to purchase a property or sell a property. Now, of course, we always recommend having an inspection done on any solar system, whether that's off-grid or grid tie. But this video specifically is going to talk about some of the ins and outs of off-grid and some of the issues that we've seen, specifically in off-grid. However, in grid tie, it's really important to get those inspected too. Make sure that they're actually producing the power they're supposed to be. Make sure the panels are all mounted the way they're supposed to be. Make sure the communications is working if there is communications on it. And making sure that the new owner, if you are the new owner, you understand what you're supposed to be producing and how you're going to see that on your power bill. Otherwise, you could be purchasing a set of property thinking you're going to get $100 off your bill, but in reality you're only getting $10 off of your bill, or maybe you're not getting any money off of your bill, and you need to make sure that as part of that transaction you understand that that's working. Solar on any home is larger than any appliance purchases you can make, and so making sure that what you're buying is working. Of course, when you're making a real estate transaction, you know that you are making one of the larger purchases in your life, and so making sure that what you're purchasing is what you think it is very important. And one of the things that we have found is that in the off-grid world specifically, a lot of times you don't quite understand what you're purchasing. And so bringing in an expert to help you understand what is there and what isn't there is very important. Sometimes you're missing major components, sometimes there can be structural flaws or other issues. Some of the things that we have found in our inspections and in just dealing with people is that solar panels aren't mounted properly, wire sizes are undercalculated and overloaded. And the other major issues that we run into is just unprofessional installation. Part of that comes from older installations before there were proper techniques and standards for solar systems. And a lot of it comes from just a lack of knowledge and a lot of people wanting to try to do solar themselves, which we highly encourage, and we want to be able to support people in doing that. However, we want to make sure that everybody's being safe and that we're putting up the right stuff for your system. And so some of the things that we found is improper sized battery cables. So if you're dealing with an off-grid system, you're going to have a battery bank, and making sure that the right size cables are on there in the correct configuration is really important. So let me show you some examples that we found. So here's a cable, not an uncommon size if you're going to be putting it on a lawnmower. If you go down to the parts store and say, hey, I need a battery cable, this very well may be what they sell you. This is made up of number 4 wire, and as you can see, it's not very large. So that's one thing that we found on people's battery cables, and in some systems this may need to transfer about 400 amps and it can't do it. Now maybe you went to another parts store and they sold you a larger size. This is number 6. This is another one that we'll see out there in the field quite a bit, and again, unfortunately, this is not sufficient. What you need on your battery cables is 2-aught. This is a 2-aught cable. We make them ourselves in the shop, but here's a 2-aught cable. And you can see, when I hold this up to the larger size here, number 6, you might be able to find at your local parts store. You go down to AutoZone or a Napa or something like that, right? And you want a battery cable. This is what they're going to sell you, but this is for, again, lawnmowers and small use equipment. This is what you're looking for in an off-grid setting. And this is going to be what goes between your batteries. And then what you need between your inverter and your batteries is 4-aught in most situations. Another thing that we find way too often is putting the wrong type of wire in the sun. A lot of times we'll find this. You've probably seen this. You can find it at Home Depot, Lowe's, right? And this is yellow Romex wire. But if you look right here, it shows you a little picture and says indoor wire. This is not rated for being in the sun. It'll go away very quickly. Unfortunately, we'll find this quite a bit out on solar panels and other systems that have been done improperly. This one looks a little bit closer, right? We even got our cool little MC4 ends on it. Right, so we've got the correct ends. This looks about right. It's black. That's what we see off the solar panels, right? Unfortunately, this is not. This is what's called THHN wire. Again, available at Home Depot, Lowe's, those types of stores. This is what has to be in conduit. This stuff is not sunlight rated. Okay, same thing. You can tell mostly because the insulation sizing on it is a lot smaller than you'll find on properly insulated wires. Here's another one. This is again THHN wire. I'm just showing it to you. It's a larger size, maybe a little bit easier to see, right? So take a look at that. You'll see that this is a number 8 wire, and it's green coated, right, for ground. The reason I pulled this out is I want you to take a look at it and realize that the insulation in it is still not very large. Here is another type of wire that you'll see. This is actually tray cable, is what one of the names for this. And this is actually properly rated to be in the sun. This part is. These parts are not. So these can be okay as long as they're up underneath the solar panel. But you don't want that part in the sun at all. It'll go away. This is the part that's allowed to be in the sun. This black part right here that's coated. And what's a little bit more common that you'll find out there is an insulator called PV wiring, or USC2 is another name for it. I've got a piece of it here for you. So this is PV wiring, or USC2. This is rated for to be in the sun. It's got an MC4 end on it. There's a small whip we took off of something. And you can see right here, the insulation's a lot thicker than what you see on THHN. Again, this is sunlight rated. This is the type of stuff that we'll be finding on different solar inspections. And this can affect the longevity of your system. If you are buying a system that doesn't have the proper size of wiring, doesn't have the proper type of wiring out in the sunlight, doesn't have the proper cable size in your batteries, these are all different issues that we found when we're doing solar inspections. One of the reasons that we highly encourage and come as close as we can to insisting, if we had control in those situations, to say that these need to be done. One of the other major things that we're going to find when we're out doing solar inspections is the improper size breakers, or overcurrent protection. The other thing that we'll find a lot of times is the wrong type of breaker. And so this here is a breaker. A lot of you guys probably see these on your house, right? You go out and look out in your sub panel, and coming in from your power, whether you got grid or regular power. And this is, you know, it's just a square D regular 20 amp breaker. But this is an AC rated breaker. This breaker is not designed to break DC power. And so if you're dealing with on the solar panel side or on the battery side, you need to make sure you're breaking DC power. And so here is a proper sized, this is a DC breaker. This is called a DIN rail breaker, and what this is a 20 amp breaker. And the big difference here is inside they've got a larger throw inside them than on AC, because you need a little bit more to break DC. So this is designed for DC, and it actually says it right on the front, 150 volts DC, and that's what you're looking for. And so when we go out and do solar inspections, these are the type of things that we're finding. And it's really important that when you're getting ready to make the largest transaction possibly in your life, when you're buying a piece of property, make sure that it's getting checked out, especially when you're your own power company in an off-grid setting. Thank you for watching this video. Again, this is Joshua Shea with Lighthouse Electric and Solar. We are located in Cochise County, Arizona, and we service that area and the greater area around it. If you got any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. The reason that we exist is so that we can help people live off-grid successfully, being their own power company. And we're huge fans of what's going on out there in this world. We just want to make sure everybody is doing it safe and effectively. Again, thank you. And check out our other videos. Check out our Facebook page. Give us a like. Again, reach out if you got any questions, and we'd love to help you. Thank you.